This is All India Radio. In the program Spotlight, now we bring you an exclusive interview with Professor Ramesh, member Niti Aayog, on cabinet decisions on Vibrant Villages program and strengthening cooperative movement in the country. The interviewer is Arjun J. Chaudhary, AIR correspondent.
Today we would be discussing on the program about the Vibrant Villages program, which is been approved by the cabinet and is a centrally sponsored scheme. We would also be discussing about the vital strengthening of the cooperative movement in India under PACS, which is the Primary Agricultural Credit Scheme. Professor Ramesh, a warm welcome to you on the program.
Thank you.
Professor, what's your take on the Vibrant Villages program? Why is it so important in terms of this centrally sponsored scheme, which is targeting the northern border, 4 states and 1 union territory? Could you be more specific in terms of its coverage? We know that there is an allocation of 4,800 crore rupees. How would these territories benefit from this scheme? Because a great deal of our economy is still agriculture and rural based.
You see, these 4 northern states and UTs for which this centrally sponsored scheme has been announced, they have some specificities. One specificity is that their population is very, very sparse. Second specificity is that they are bordering, mainly China borders. And another specificity of this region is that lot of migration of population from that place is happening. So because of that, for example, in Uttarakhand state, hundreds of villages are becoming ghost villages. Nobody is living there. So that has its own implication for lower economic activity. That has its implication for security, because everywhere we can't send paramilitary and military forces. So the population of people itself provides a security. So these are the reasons that they have special characteristics, because of which the government has to pay special attention to them.
And what is the nature of this special attention? There is a budgetary outlay of 4,800 crore rupees. They're calling this out-migration, where people are preferring to abandon their villages for work and livelihood elsewhere. How do you see this program improving the livelihood of the people so that instead of out-migration, there is in-migration?
Yeah, you see, this 4,800 crore rupees will be spent on 2 type of items. One is infrastructure, mainly road infrastructure, and second is livelihood activities. In fact, these two are related. These two are connected to each other. For instance, in Arunachal Pradesh, we produce lot of exotic fruit, like even kiwi. But there is no efficient transportation available to move that produce from Arunachal Pradesh to the market. So these two activities, they are related, but as I just mentioned that these two are connected, and we also need infrastructure in that area to keep people there so that they do not have different type of hardships of life. Many people may be moving out of that area because going to hospital is very difficult. Many people will be moving out of that area that if they have to go for work in some factory or some other government development program. So these two type of activities, they will promote economic activity, they will provide means of livelihood to people, and at the same time, when there are good roads, people mobility will be easy. The isolation itself, which is a discouraging characteristic of this area, the isolation of that area will be reduced. As I mentioned, this Uttarakhand, I talked to some of the people from that place. So they were just mentioning that because of these things, when some people start moving, and once the minimum mass of people is not there in a village, then a few who even wanted to stay back, they are also forced to move back. So I think through this new allocation, both economic activities and road infrastructure and other kind of infrastructure, the life of people will become easy. Mobility will be there, access to say ICT, internet, etc. That will improve. So I think all these, when they will be created, then certainly migration from that area, which is especially distress migration, there will be check on that.
Professor Ramesh Chandji, there is now a plan to ensure convergence of the various schemes by leveraging what they're calling the whole of the government approach. So you have PACS, which is the primary agricultural credit societies, you have dairy, fishery and cooperatives, which are sought to be developed in order to provide these employment opportunities along with the road infrastructure you're talking about over the next 5 years. How do you see the locals in the area understanding the importance of this convergence of schemes and then taking a decision on how to plan their out-migration and then come back into in-migration?
Individuality of scheme is more important from administration and implementation point of view. As far as user point of view is concerned, as a person, you all deal with the total systems, whatever entire thing is needed for living. So I look at cooperative, that cooperative is one institution which can fill many gaps which are characteristics of most of the villages in India, but in particular in case of isolated region like border region. One, our economic unit, whether it is agriculture, whether it is micro enterprises, is too small for market. They are not viable, or they suffer from scale disadvantage to sell their produce, to buy the inputs. So this is one reason that these people need to be organized. That can take the form of self-help group. But best and well-tried institution for centuries is the cooperative institution. And second is that in these places you find that market is missing or market is exploitative. So through cooperative, people decide themselves how to market input, how to market output. And we have this experience of dairy cooperative in lakhs of villages. That white revolution was possible only because we have vibrant cooperative dairy institutions in this country. So with this realization, a new Ministry of Cooperation was created. That new ministry has undertaken lot of initiatives, even legal kind of changes in the Cooperative Act, allocation, new kind of cooperative institutions, which will be involved in processing, which will be involved in export. So we are developing this cooperative institution as an institution of people, as an institution to provide scale and bargaining strength, as an institution for empowering small producers, and also as an institution which will reduce the number of intermediaries. So where the link between producer and consumer will be much stronger than what is achieved through market. So these regions, as I mentioned in the beginning, that we have weak infrastructure, we have weak or exploitative market institutions. Therefore, we require an institution of cooperative which will not eliminate whatever is the existing marketing mechanism. It will make that more competitive and it will modernize economic activities there. This institution can play the role of providing market outlets. This institution will play the role of providing credit to the producer and to the needy. So this is a multiple role which is expected from this very important economic institution, which in a democratic setup is institution of people, for people and by the people.
Professor Ramesh Chandji, how is the Vibrant Villages program different from the Border Area Development program?
This Vibrant Village program, which Cabinet has approved today, it will be providing better focus in 4 states which are bordering China. Whereas we have a very long border and that border development program is for, I think, as many states as 17 states. So since the characteristics of these villages which are bordering China is different than others, we don't have difficult terrain, say in Rajasthan or in Punjab villages which are bordering Pakistan. But you look at the terrain which is there in the villages which are bordering China. So in these 4 states, there are special characteristics of border villages. So I will say that Vibrant Village program is a subset of the border development, which will cater to the specificities of the border areas which are bordering China.
So you mentioned about roadway development. Access is very important. Mobility is as well. How about large water bodies? because fishery cooperative development along with PAX dairy is a very important part of the terrain which is been identified by the center.
Again, it will vary from place to place. Fishery is one area. In the northeast, piggery could be another area if we are considering of animal husbandry. And at some places, it could be poultry. So these are the activities which are related to livestock. Similarly, we have lot of activities which are related to crop production, which are related to floriculture, which are related to horticulture. So if you look at the cooperative, we are now moving from simple cooperative which was dealing with one or two activities to multiple activities cooperatives. That cooperative giving credit, cooperative arranging imports, cooperative marketing output, cooperative involved in processing, cooperative involved in training, and even cooperative involved in providing the storage structures. So we now have a much larger and much bigger vision of cooperatives than which was existing earlier. So this is how that if you go to mountain area, one important feature of mountain areas is diversity. In mountain area, you will just find on one side of mountain, you can grow a kind of activity. On another side, because there is a shade, particular kind of slope, you are required to have totally different kind of activity. That is also what results in low scale, that you have to produce very large number of produce. But that produce, the beauty of these border area and inaccessible area is that produce is of unique quality, unique value. So it used to be branded like this. It must have traceability, it must be leveling. For instance, I can tell you that turmeric that we produce in Meghalaya is of far superior quality than the turmeric which we produce in plains. So this thing applies to most of the commodities which are produced in mountain, high hill, inaccessible regions, that they have unique qualities and unique traits. So because of all those things, I think it was rightly felt that we need to pay special attention to subset of border villages which have a particular kind of topography, which have a particular kind of geographic characteristics, rainfall, climate, and also in terms of accessibility, population, density, etc.
Finally, Professor Ramesh Chandji, tell us about the primary agricultural credit societies. So what is the finance that's being provided? Is it microfinance? Is there interest subvention? What is the benefit to farmer when they borrow from a society like this?
You see, primary agriculture cooperative society or credit society, their office bearer belong to the same community in the villages. So the very former relationship with them. So while you are just working, while you are roaming in the village, you can talk that this is what activity you are undertaking, this is what you will need. So one is that informality that is involved in dealing with these institutions. Second is there are studies which show that cost of borrowing and cost of documentation dealing with doing business through these cooperative is very, very low. It is bare minimum, whereas if somebody had to take loan from the bank, there are so many formalities, guarantees, documents to be produced. So I would say that one is this informality and second is that cost of transaction is very, very low. And third is that in most cases, if there is a benefit, if there is a profit, that also goes to the members of cooperative.
Professor Ramesh Chandji, I think we have heard everything relevant to our discussion today regarding the Vibrant Villages program, which is a centrally sponsored scheme for which there is a budgetary outlay of 4,800 crore rupees, and also the primary agricultural credit scheme known as PAX, which has been approved by Parliament to strengthen the cooperative movement in India. Thank you so much, Professor Ramesh Chandji, for being with us on this program on All India Radio.
Welcome.
You were listening to an exclusive interview with Professor Ramesh Chand, member Niti Aayog, on Cabinet Decisions on Vibrant Villages Program and Strengthening Cooperative Movement in the country. Interviewer was Arjun J. Chaudhary, AIR correspondent. This program was produced and presented by the News Services Division of All India Radio. You can listen to it on our mobile app News on AIR. This program is also available on our YouTube channel News on AIR Official. You may email your opinion about this program at airnsdtalks@gmail.com.